Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we're actually talking about social media because social media's success is being driven by hate. This was a fascinating read from Inquirer, and I thought that I want to share this, guys, with you today. Now, Facebook is, if you didn't know, a very specific application of the internet. It's basically one that is designed to addict us to infinite scrolling on our feed, and that puts us in front of advertisers. Now, along with Twitter, it also tends to breed conflict. According to a new study, we now have the data to show just how good it is at breeding conflict and what that is doing to people. Now, here's what's going on. 3 researchers from Cambridge and NYU looked at Facebook and Twitter from both conservative and liberal media accounts of members of the United States Congress. And what they found was that out of all the biggest, of all the factors they studied, the biggest predictor of whether a post would go viral was whether it was about an outgroup, meaning in this case, you're a conservative talking about a liberal, or a liberal talking about a conservative. Basically, if you're a conservative, that's your in-group, the liberal's out, and vice versa. Now, people, according to the study, liked hearing more about the out-group, which often involves the same form of, or also involves some form of like trash talk or something like that, a lot more than they liked hearing about their own in-group. Now, for years, the social media companies have come under fire for promoting content that is particularly controversial or incendiary. What you're presented with by these services' algorithms isn't random. They've responded basically by making alterations to these systems, and interestingly enough, in their conclusion of this report, the researchers note that these alterations may have actually made things worse. And to quote the report from these researchers, understanding the factors that make social media posts go viral online can help create better social environments. While social media platforms are not fully transparent about how their algorithmic ranking system works, Facebook announced in a post titled "Bringing People Closer Together" that it was changing its algorithm's ranking system to value deeper forms of engagement, such as reactions and comments. Ironically, posts about the political outgroup were particularly effective at generating comments and reactions, particularly with the angry reaction, the most popular reaction across basically their study. In other words, these algorithmic changes made under the guise of bringing people closer together may have helped prioritize posts, including outgroup animosity. So obviously that's a huge problem. Facebook is saying, well, if we've got engagement and comments and all of that, we're going to go ahead and prioritize that. But, if I'm sitting here as a liberal talking about conservatives, or a conservative talking about liberals, and I'm trash talking them or saying, oh my God, liberals suck, conservatives suck, whatever that is, here we go. That has a chance of going viral. And that's what they're talking about. Now, there's always a question of whether these kinds of companies are promoting this kind of behavior or whether they're simply a reflection of human behavior. If it's the latter, then there isn't a whole lot they can do with extraordinary amounts of censorship to curtail polarization. Maybe people just have too much fun insulting each other and feeling superior at someone else. But social media companies, as currently constructed, are not simply a public square, as they state. I mean, how many times do you witness people screaming at each other and dehumanizing one another over political differences every time you walk through your local public square or just go to the market? Right? You're going to your supermarket or whatever. They're usually not people, with the exception of a few videos on YouTube, screaming at each other. And, you could have a Trump supporter walking down the aisle with somebody that hates Trump, and usually they're just leaving each other alone. So it's really interesting to see. I mean, our social media companies are essentially a slot machine. They are designed to basically keep us using them by any means necessary, including addiction. It's essentially how they make their money. And right now, they're addicting us to hating the outgroups. And I think this is absolutely true. And anecdotally, I mean, if you look at those let's say, just keeping with members of Congress that are consistently in the news, it's usually because they're saying something and the other side is saying, oh my God, like this idiot or whatever it is. You can look at, on the right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who espouses, QAnon beliefs. Matt Gaetz right now, who is a staunch Trump supporter. He's currently under criminal investigation. On the left, you have, the quote unquote squad, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and some of those as well. And these are basically people that you either love or that you hate. And, if you're on one side or the other, you're usually not talking about them. You're usually talking talking about how the other side is an idiot, and by virtue of that, you're getting everybody riled up. Oftentimes, this is usually, committed with hyperbole as well of what one person said or another. So, we see this. I mean, the people that are raising the most funds are those that are taking shots at the other side. And that's another problem that we have outside of social media, is that we're essentially allowing this kind of fundraising to happen. So, if I'm a member of Congress on my side and I'm saying, oh, the other side's an idiot, they're morons, they're this, they're this, they're this, as I'm a member of Congress, I'm going to take them to task and put those idiots in their place. I'm going to get more money, quite frankly, from constituents from around the nation than I am if I'm just keeping my head down and actually trying to govern. I mean, that's basically consistently been borne out over and over and over. So, I'm not sitting here poking completely at social media, but social media is essentially taking, that fire that we have on both sides and pouring gas on it by prioritizing it to make sure that people continue to see the same anger and hatred towards the other side, which continues to create that polarization and keep it even wider. And I think that's something that we really need to address. And if Facebook is saying, well, we're just going to basically look at and prioritize things like engagement, if that engagement's 100% negative, that's a bit of a problem. So I think this was a really interesting article. Like I said, everybody should go and read it. And that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well, where I promise no polarization. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.